What's up, nerds? Welcome to Nintendo Pow Block, our all Nintendo show. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, the Super Nintendo expert, Edward Varnell.
Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger. Those are my lives of RPGs, best days.
Oh, man. Ed, how's it going?
It's going really good. Very great.
I feel like we both worked at extremely long amounts this weekend.
Surprisingly, you did, but not me. I finally ended my vacation last week and went back to work Sunday. So, yeah, I'm getting ready for the work week and other things to come up. Actually getting ready to pre-plan for E3. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think we're both in that stage now. Before we do get started, I don't want to spoil anything, but Edward's other show, World, had Axiom Verge creator Todd Happ on, and you should go listen to that show. If you're listening to this now, you should pause this show, listen to that one, because they talk to him in depth and have some very important discussions with him. So you should go listen to that. But yes, World 1-1 podcast, Larry and Ed and Adrian. Adrian posted a really funny picture on Instagram the other day, this weekend. It was pretty funny. So you should go listen to that. Even before you listen to this, you should go listen to that. It's
yes.
Oh, I'm so jealous. But I'm also proud of you, Edward, and Larry.
Thank you.
And Adrian. I'm proud of all of you guys. But anyways, yeah, what have you been playing, Ed?
Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap. I'm almost done with it. Getting the review up soon today, so you guys will be able to see it on NGR Radio. And probably by the time this episode comes out, it should be up on the site, so you guys will be able to read that. Still getting through that. My Ghost Recon Wildlands for Xbox One came in, so I'm going through that, and it's pretty much Watch Dogs 2 meets the Division. Nothing too special or anything. Having a little bit fun of it. I thought my save data from the beta would carry over, but it didn't, so I had to kind of restart fresh with the whole game. So I finished the first area. Now I gotta do this. I'm into a new territory, so now everything else about the game is going to be new. So I'm getting through that. And at this time, that's pretty much. And the Blob 2 is what I'm also playing, and Pokemon Sun. So that's the games that I'm playing right now. I will be returning to Breath of the Wild, finishing that up, because I'm almost done with that. So I just got stuck playing some other things. But Breath of the Wild, I'm going to be playing that and then returning back to Persona 5. So yeah, but that's what I've been doing.
Nice. I've been flipping through a lot of games on my Switch. I've been playing Mr. Shifty. I have last night I played Shovel Knight for probably an hour and a half. I'm on the Shovel Knight, the original campaign on Switch. I'm going to try to play through all 3 campaigns. Man, Shovel Knight's really good.
It is.
Just talk about Shovel Knight really fast. That game is so good. Every time I turn it on, I'm like, I don't really know how to say this. It's respectfully challenging to where, like, you know what you did wrong when you mess up, and it punishes you in the right way.
It's that classic platforming challenge that you have come to know, be frustrated by, but yet love and respect.
Yeah,
like
Shovel Knight's so good.
Yes.
It
makes the jumping important when you play a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love all of the different bosses. The one thing I wish he could have implemented in that game was the Mega Man style. I'm stealing this boss's weapon for the next stage. But like, other than that, like, man, it is so good. And I got the fire rod that mechanic helps a lot. It's just, man, it's so good.
Yes.
So good. And I maxed out all of my health, and I got all the meal tickets to max. It's so good. It makes me excited for like the next Shovel Knight, like the next real Shovel Knight game. I really hope like Shovel Knight, Super Shovel Knight, or Shovel Knight. Man, I can't wait.
Yeah, I think Yacht Club probably in the next 2.5 years probably won't announce the next Shovel Knight for title. I think 2.5 years it's going to take it. They'll announce it and like show more off.
Well, I mean, Shovel Knight's been out for what, 2 years already?
Mhm.
2.5 ish.
Yeah, but I think they've been tweaking and been getting some things out. So hopefully they're in business wise. Hopefully they're in a good space where they don't have to kickstart for their second game. They can literally just make their second game, put it out, and people will be ready for it. But you know, Shovel Knight 2 is going to be a hard sell because there's a lot of expectations that's going to be held up for that game. And just because it's a Super Nintendo style looking big game doesn't mean that a lot of that quality should be diluted. You know, it really has to live up. Not somewhat match it at least, or a little bit surpass it, but actually still bring a good feel to it on this title, because you really don't want Shovel Knight to go like downhill. You kind of want it to stay uphill and just be better and better.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I just want more from this franchise, and like I expect them to do more with it. I don't know if I'm more interested to see a sequel to Shovel Knight or a new franchise from them. But I mean, I think it would be awfully hard for them to get away from Shovel Knight right now. I think maybe their next big thing will come after a Shovel Knight sequel.
Yes.
So
I think if they do at least 3 Shovel Knights, I think after their third one, they could move on to a new game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because these guys are very talented.
I would love to see like Super Shovel Knight next, but like if they do Shovel Knight 64, I would like them to take an approach more of the way of like Ukulele, in terms of like, I want this to look modern but still have that classic N64 platformer feel, more than like, you know, if they actually went and made really bad N64 style graphics, you know.
Well, I think depending on the mixed criticism that Ukulele is getting, I think they might shy away from that. I think they really had to think outside the box, but really do a checklist of stuff to make a N64 style Shovel Knight. Like how do we do the jumping? How do we do the attacks in this game? Like, how do he get his powers and stuff? Because, you know, they don't probably want to make it linear like Ukulele, but they want to make sure that it's polished and it's done right. Because just because you do something in 64 or a certain kind of thing, you know, there are things that might affect the quality and might actually hurt the fan base of that franchise. So they got to be very wary of that.
Yeah. I just want more Shovel Knight anyway. I can get it. Not gonna lie, it's gonna be. I'm excited to play Spectre of Torment, which I might play that one next and just skip Plague of Shadows for now, because what I played, I didn't really care for on the Wii U.
Yeah.
But I do want to play through it just because I think it deserves to be played through, and I need to give it a little bit more time. But I'm excited to play the new one, so I'm probably going to play that one next. But other than that, I've been playing Mr. Shifty, which it's got a lot of mixed reviews, but I love this game. It is so simple, yet so complex. As you make your way through the different stages, it's just like, man, and they've had a couple of patches now, which has made the game run a lot smoother. It's so much fun just teleporting around the levels, and like you teleport past these two guys into a separate room, you corner them in a room, and then you teleport back out of the room and walk through the door that they all just walked in because they cornered you in the corner of the wall, and then they're still staring at the wall, and you come up behind them and just take them all out. Oh, it feels so good. Oh, that game. If you're looking for something to play on your Switch or even on Steam, and I'm sure Mr. Shifty will come other places eventually, but
yes,
this game I think deserves to at least be looked at. If you like Hotline Miami at all, if you're into those top-down kind of maze-like action games, this game is it's so much fun. I think I like it because the premise of it is so simple, and the way that you can manipulate the simple mechanics to make it more complex is what makes the game interesting. So it's very Super Mario in that way, because when you're playing Mario, you have jump and you have your special moves, which in Mr. Shifty would be your the teleporting. It would be compared to your Mario jump, and then the weapons you find throughout the world would be compared to like your fire flower, your cape, or your Tanuki suit, that kind of stuff. And the way you can manipulate all that, like you can throw your weapon at a guy and it'll knock over two guys, and you teleport past them to catch the weapon, and then you come back and melee them with it. It's just it's smart. I think it's smart. I understand some people's criticisms of it, but those things that they were criticizing don't bother me. I actually think it makes the game better. So it's really been between those two games with a little Graceful Explosion Machine in between. It's just really hard not to have Zelda to play anymore, because I literally have nothing else to do in there until the expansions come out. And I'm waiting for Puyo Puyo Tetris by the time this comes out, but I'm waiting for that. The demo is cool. The demo is fun. The demo is very generous, actually, of Puyo Puyo Tetris. If you download the demo, you get like very basic Tetris and very basic Puyo Puyo.
Yeah.
Point where like if you just want to play Tetris, like old school Game Boy Tetris, you can download the demo for free and just have it.
Wow.
I'm interested to see what the full version is and if what they offer, but if you're just looking for Tetris, I definitely recommend downloading that demo. So good. But that's kind of all I've been playing. I was going to go back and try to play some Horizon, but my PlayStation 4 is about on its last leg. It's growling at me. I turn it on and it's frozen up on me twice in the last 2 days. It's very, very loud, and I mean, it's a launch console. I expect it at some point to need replaced. So
yeah, you thinking of a Slim or a Pro? If you decide,
well, I'm gonna replace it. I just don't know exactly when. I might just do it before vacation just to get it over with. But I don't have any reason to own a Pro, so I'll probably just go with a Slim. But
are you did you get
what?
Did you get an external hard drive?
No, I didn't use my external hard drive yet.
Oh, because I was about to say, are you going to just move everything to your external, and then once you get your Slim, just hook it up, format it, and then be good to go?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've been playing a lot more on my Xbox also. I played some Gears of War 4 online the other day. I
was thinking of playing that 4.
I wish I still had time to play that game. I think it's still really good. I think the multiplayer is still really, really fun. But you know, the problem is like this is coming at a really bad time to be dying on me because I just spent all this money on my Switch. Switch games are coming out, and then you know, me and my wife are taking a vacation in a couple weeks, so like it's just coming at a really bad time to be needed and replaced.
Right.
So it kind of sucks, but it'll be all right. We'll figure it out. Well, that's kind of all I've been playing.
All right, cool.
So we did promise you this week that we would do this Super Nintendo Classic Edition list. There are a couple interesting news stories I do kind of want to touch on real quick, especially this one. Rainway is a company that is making an app for Switch, Xbox One, and other platforms, it says, that will allow you to stream PC games to your Switch and your Xbox One. It's especially good. Like I guess good news for the Switch. I don't know if Nintendo is going to allow this app on the Switch. But Borderless Gaming is the developer, and their comment, they have a Reddit thread going. The app will be available from the Nintendo Switch eShop sometime soon. The Rainway website states that your games will be available at 60 frames a second. All you need on your PC is a GPU that supports DirectX 11. As for setup configurations on the back end, making the process pain-free, which, you know, if I want to play Tomb Raider on my Switch, this seems like the way to go. But in all seriousness, do you really think Nintendo's really going to allow an app like this on their Switch, on their device? No. Yeah, I don't even stop letting you do this because A, on Xbox One, like Windows streaming thing on there already, and B, like there was that emulator, that N64 emulator that snuck onto the Windows store on Xbox.
Yeah,
that was quickly taken down. So I don't see these things really getting out there.
Right, and that's that's piracy in a way, because of people who are able to pirate games and stuff from PC. If they could play that on Switch, then people gonna be like, well, what's the reason of me owning any of Nintendo's games and stuff if I could pirate it?
Yeah. It's an interesting thing to think about, though. I like we talked last week. There are games on other platforms that I wish would be on Switch, just because I like those games and I want them to be on Switch. But it's interesting to look at and think about. But I just don't see Nintendo allowing it. So
I mean, it would be good to, I think if they allow to watch streaming of like PC games and not play them or anything, that would be fine. Like if I'm able to watch a World of Warcraft or League of Legends match or something, that's fine. That'd be cool to watch it on my Switch. But to actually stream it and to play it, no, that becomes piracy now.
Yeah. It's just a weird thing that came out the other day, and I just thought it would be interesting to talk about a little bit. So the next, I guess the last kind of news thing I want to get into is Target is rolling out their big Mario Kart 8 Deluxe promotion. Did you see these carts?
Yes, I did.
They're putting Mario Karts on their carts, which is absolutely amazing. My wife walked in and was like, my wife went to Target this weekend, and our Target's already starting to do it. And she's like, there's all this Mario Kart stuff on the Target carts. I'm like, yeah, they're doing a big weird cross promotion thing with Mario Kart for Switch.
And you got to give it to Nintendo and Target for promoting stuff like this, because with the red ball that they had, they turned it into a Pokeball when Pokemon Sun and Moon came out. And I think it's cool that Target is doing this. Like, to working well with Nintendo to market a big release for their games, because you really don't see that from PlayStation and from Microsoft.
Yeah, it's cool. I think Nintendo is being smart with their marketing.
Yes.
Just all through this like all through, and since the Switch launched, I think Nintendo has been on the ball with their marketing, and the fact that like they're teaming up with certain stores, they're teaming up with certain outlets and doing cross promotional things is just, it's smart. It's smart. I mean, we even saw it in December when Mario Run came out, and Miyamoto went on stage at Apple to promote Mario Run. Like, the fact that they're cross promoting stuff with different companies is very, very smart.
Yes.
And you know, a lot of people go to Target, and a lot of people play Mario Kart 8, or a lot of people love Mario Kart, and I just think they're being super smart about everything that they're doing with the Switch right now.
That Miyamoto reveal at Apple blew the whole internet, because everybody was just like, what?
Yeah, I know.
And all you see, and was that the release of the Red Dead trailer?
Yeah, that was like 3 days beforehand.
And it was just
that day, you know, Red Dead got Mario Run, and it's the same thing that happened to Horizon. Horizon got Zelda.
Yeah. I mean, and I give it to Sony for promoting the Pro with Horizon. Like, that's good that they believe in that title to show off. But I think, showing off a console, they could have did more. They could have actually worked with stores and had some kind of theme to really promote some of their first party. And I think that's what definitely Microsoft kind of needs to do with Scorpio. I think they need to start working with companies and retailers and promoting their marketed some of that stuff to get their system and some of their games out, because it's been working. It works super well with Nintendo. Definitely at my job, we got a Mario poster, and we got the Mario Kart like interest and stuff. And it's just like, when the game comes out, hopefully people would take pictures with the Mario. Like, if you come in the store, you want to take a picture with Mario, you're able to do that. And that's cool that Nintendo's doing stuff like that. So maybe Microsoft and Sony may want to do something like that in the future. Definitely for their holiday games that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, definitely. Super smart. Super, super smart. That's kind of all the news we got. It's kind of a small thing, but hey, it's cool. But yeah, let's get to this the Super Nintendo Mini Classic Edition is still rumored to be coming out this fall. I imagine that they're going to announce it at E3 at some point. Ed and I have made a list of games that we would like to see on the console. Now, we know games like Super Mario World, A Link to the Past, Super Metroid, those types of games are going to be on the system. F-Zero will probably be on the system. Anything Nintendo first party related, with the exception of maybe Earthbound, will probably be on the system. Maybe, Yoshi's Island may not be on the system just because they have some weird thing about, the touch fuzzy get dizzy, and like, I don't know. They had this weird thing with Yoshi's Island, and maybe some of the Super Effects games may not emulate well, like Star Fox or whatever.
Yes.
But, a lot of the first party stuff is probably going to be on Super Nintendo. So Ed and I kind of made lists of games that are remembered fondly on Super Nintendo that we would like to see. And, they're not necessarily going to be the first party games, because we know those games are going to be on there. But Ed, why don't you kick off this list?
All right, I guess I would have to kick off the list. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to go from 15 to 1. And in case of me and Corey have some of the same titles, then I'm going to change my answer, because I did come with some extra ones. So started with number 15, the Ninja Gaiden trilogy. For those who haven't played Ninja Gaiden on the regular NES, Tecmo did a compilation of the first 3 games. And I did play this. That was the way I actually beat Ninja Gaiden 1 and Ninja Gaiden 2. Just to let you know that the sound quality of those Ninja Gaiden trilogy games is better than the NES. They kind of made it sound like surround sound and cleared a lot of it up. But 3 games in one with that trilogy, and the Ninja Gaiden trilogy is fantastic. I mean, people have problems with 3, but 1 and 2 are definitely the highlights. 1 kind of introduced the cinematic, adding cinematic scenes to an NES card, and you haven't seen that in video games unless you was probably at the arcade or something. So Ninja Gaiden trilogy,
nice. I my first games, and I think 2 will be on this over 1, but Breath of Fire. I think Breath of Fire 2 will make it on here because I feel like a lot of people have more fond memories over Breath of Fire 2 than Breath of Fire 1.
I actually have that on my list.
I mean, I think you and I, for some reason, I think we're just going to have a lot of crossover just because that's how we are. But like, I don't have a lot of memory of this game. I just remember seeing it everywhere. I remember, I think it's even available on phones, and I played it a little bit when it came to Virtual Console on the Wii. Very cool game. Very, very interesting game. And I know a lot of people have a lot of fond memories of Breath of Fire 2, but I put Breath of Fire 1 and 2 on just to,
You put 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I had to take both of them mine though.
Well, I made them as one entry. So.
I put them as separate games, so I still have to take both of them off. Yeah. See, once again, me and you think alike.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I got a lot of good backup, so don't worry.
All right. Well, what's your next entry?
My next entry is Natsume's Champion Wrestling, and you would think that Royal Rumble and the WWF games during the 90s were the only kind of wrestling games. No, there were many more. And Natsume Champion Wrestling is kind of a Japanese style game wrestling with unknown wrestlers. It was on a diag, but it was really fun, like really goofy at that time. So you can check it out on YouTube. Like you can check out all these games on YouTube and get an idea. But Natsume Champion Wrestling.
Nice. My next game, and I know this is probably on your list too. I'm sorry. Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Nope, not on my list.
Really? All right.
Yep.
I love this game.
Yes.
This is one of the best co-op games on Super Nintendo. It's still one of the best co-op games I think ever. Where like you're either this boy or this girl, or you're with a friend, and you go through different parts of your neighborhood, and you just shoot like zombies and like really bad imitations of 80s horror villains. Like there's monsters with hockey masks walking around. There's like Freddy Krueger looking dudes. There's a bunch of B-movie horror movie things walking around, and you just shoot them with squirt guns or slime guns or whatever guns they were. And then I just remember the big like the 4th level was like this giant football stadium that you just walked around the football stadium and shot zombies in the football stadium.
It was all dedicated to the cheerleaders, and you had to collect all the cheerleaders to get points, because they were like the highest point thing that you could get.
Right. Oh man, it was just so good.
That soundtrack is so good too.
So good. Oh man, if you want to check out some good 16-bit co-op action, Zombies Ate My Neighbors is one of the best. It's one of the best.
Yes.
So
using 6-pack soda cans as grenades, bazookas. Your main weapon was a water gun.
Yeah, which it was just funny. And I just remember like the characters, like the boy had on like this this weird black shirt and some jeans and this really tall blonde hair.
Yes, with the 3D glasses.
Yep.
And sometimes when you, sometimes you open up the chest and a ghost or something will hit you. You'd be like, "Ow!"
Yeah, and I remember the box art had nothing to do with the game. It was just this like, it looked like a really bad photoshopped meme of a bad horror movie. It was like this yellow and red like swirly background with this terrified mom in the front, like and then there's like three or four zombies in the background just walking towards the mom, and it just looks like a really bad. It's gonna be okay. So I've decided that the Zombies Ate My Neighbor cover art for the Super Nintendo box is going to be the cover art for the show this week. So if you check out our YouTube page for this, but man, so bad.
I would love for you to Photoshop us in in there.
But yeah, Zombies Ate My Neighbor is so good. And remember the giant baby that was walking around?
Yes.
Man.
I love that game.
I love that game.
I hated the worms though that used to come out of anywhere. Like
yeah. Oh man, that game was awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
What's your next entry, Ed?
So my next entry is Mortal Kombat 2. This was the start of when the ESRB actually made like finalized the rating before it evolved to what it is today. And this Nintendo finally was able to allow companies to add blood. So this game was kind of like the first M-rated game that was popular on the Super Nintendo. It was actually better than the Sega Genesis version, and it kind of did better than the arcade version. Like everybody was looking forward to this game. So the ton of copies. I played it so much against my friend that regardless of any character that we pick, he will win, I will win, or we'll just be able to just knocked out. But this was a game that really trained me to get into the Mortal Kombat universe. I mean, I was good at the arcade one, but because I was able to spend more time with the characters and transfer that skill to the arcade, it kind of made me a deadly force back in the day. But Mortal Kombat 2 is kind of a historical game for Nintendo and for gaming in general.
Nice. Yeah. I was super interested in having Mortal Kombat on there, but I just think the way that Nintendo, like Super Nintendo went, this actually goes into my next entry. Actually, I think Street Fighter 2 would be the game that most Super Nintendo fans had. I feel like a lot of people, when Mortal Kombat came to home consoles, a lot of people actually preferred the Genesis version because they had the blood in it, as opposed to like the Super Nintendo version that had just the green sweat or whatever. But my next entry is Super Street Fighter 2. I don't know which edition you give them. Yeah, I guess Turbo would probably. Yeah, you give
them Turbo. Yeah, because it'll have all 12 challengers, and actually, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, I think, came for Super Nintendo. I think that's the definitive edition.
Yeah. But yeah, Super Street Fighter 2, I just remember the first time I ever played a Street Fighter, it was on Super Nintendo, and first fighting games I thought was like really fun to play. I never really got into fighting games, but I do remember Street Fighter 2 always being there. And my one friend and I actually got it was the version before you could pick the same fighter with a different skin on it, and we both wanted to be Blanca, and we got in this huge fight because we both wanted to be Blanca and we couldn't, and like he ended up leaving my house because we got in this fight because we both wanted to be Blanca, which I think is what people were afraid of, people beating each other up over.
That was World Warriors. That was the first one on Super Nintendo. that you can select the character. But I think if you did a code on it, you were able to select the same character.
Yeah, I see. Like we didn't really know that. We were just kind of just playing, but yeah. And then Street Fighter 2 Turbo came out, and we were able to orange Blanco or green Blanco, so it ended up working out kind of. But man, Street Fighter.
It's good that you guys made up.
Yeah, well, yeah, sort of. What's your next
in Pocky and Rocky, a top-down 2D adventure RPG style game. I've never got to play it, but I always wanted to. And every time I bring it up, a lot of people get some people who played it get fond memories of it. But it's in the style of The Legend of the Mystical Ninja. But I just thought Pocket Rocky, since it never got ported anywhere and it's only on the Super Nintendo, I thought it would be good to get that for that game to make a comeback.
Yeah, Game Informer actually did a replay about 2 years ago on it with the what's his name? I forget. He used to work at Atlas and now he works at Sony. They did a replay of it, and that game is like super fun. The game looks super fun.
Yes.
So, yeah, I would totally agree to put that on there. My next one is a no-brainer, kind of. Well, kind of no-brainers, but it's all has to do with licensing and stuff. But Mega Man X, I think, deserves to be on there.
Yeah, it will.
I don't really know which Mega Man X game is considered the best one, but I think one of them would appear on there.
The first.
Okay, so
yeah,
I picked Mega Man X. I actually played it, and I actually think I like them more than the Mega Man game, the original Mega Man games.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that just comes with advancing technology and all that kind of stuff.
A lot of people say Mega Man 1 to 3 were the top Mega Man games, and then when the X series came in, that was the best continuation game.
Yeah.
And 2 and 3 are not bad, but just like Mega Man 1, Mega Man X1 was just a surprise on how good it felt and kind of how the series evolved to what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I can see that. But Mega Man X, next game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my next game is actually Final Fight 2. Now, there's so many iterations of the regular Final Fight that I was just like, so many people played this and don't nobody want to play the first one because it's only one player on Super Nintendo. But Final Fight 2 was kind of better. You got to choose from two new characters. And the soundtrack is better, and the levels are long. The challenge is better, and you can play 2-player co-op. Maki is still my favorite female character in that game. So yeah, Final Fight 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
My next,
and it's funny. Before we go on, it's funny. I played all 3 games, and I think 2 is the best. In fact, I beat all 3 games. I actually played Final Fight 3 when it came to Wii, the virtual console. That was my first time playing it, and I ended up beating it.
Nice. I almost put Final Fight on this list, but for some reason it told me no, don't put it on there because Ed's going to put it on there, and you don't want to have the exact same list. So, my next entry is. And it actually gives me hope because they put Tecmo Bowl on the NES, but NBA Jam, probably tournament edition.
Dang it! We both put the same thing on.
I think NBA Jam is like the sports game for Super Nintendo, kind of like Tecmo Bowl was the sports game for NES. Like,
yes.
How can you not have Super Nintendo without NBA Jam? And I don't know how they would do it, just because of how the Players Association works. And I think like Bill Clinton was a secret character in that game, and like there's just all these things you got to work around, but worth it. Do it.
Yes.
Find a way. I actually have 2 sports games on my list.
I
But
think I have a couple. So but yeah, that was actually my number one was NBA Jam. But I already told you that, so that one is not surprising.
yeah, yeah.
So
Man, remember when they re-released NBA or they made the new one?
yes, which
Oh,
was really good.
I
It
know it was
wasn't
really
bad.
good, which gives me hope for this. That NBA Playgrounds that's coming pretty soon.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that game too. I want to see what it's like. So, but yeah. Anyways, your turn. Sorry.
So, Fighter's History. And what Fighter's History is, it's a Street Fighter game from Data East. And this was the controversy in about this game. Capcom sued Data East because they thought that a lot of the fighters in their moves represented Street Fighter 2. So they were trying to, stop the game from coming out because of copyright infringement. But the courts decided in Data East favor, saying that the game is too different, they are not similar, the characters look different, they don't share the same moves or animations and stuff like that. And so that's why you can see now a lot of fighting games that come out, they have it represents something similar to Street Fighter, but it's not actually a Street Fighter clone. So but Fighter's History is a game that because of that controversy, I never got a chance to play it. But it seemed like a fun game. You can see YouTube clips of it. But yeah, Fighter's History. It is
Nice.
funny. It's funny for Fighter's History and Super Street Fighter to be on the same thing, just to see how how the difference is.
Yeah.
I think that was the first video game controversy and lawsuit that I come to know.
Huh. I'm gonna have to look all that up because that's super interesting.
Yeah.
But my next game is also a sports game, and I think it would be a little bit easier to get on the Super Nintendo since they didn't use real players' names except for one person. But King Griffey Jr. Baseball for Super Nintendo.
I gotta take that off because that was right after NBA Jam tournament.
I'm sorry. Man, that game was so much fun. I think that was one of the best games on Super Nintendo.
Yes.
Home Run Derby was so much fun, and like me and my friend Brian, we were little, we were doing Home Run Derby, and we were like, nobody can beat King Griffey Jr. because he was like the best. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. I remember we actually took the time to like re-enter everybody's name.
Dang.
Like, the team from that year. Oh,
yeah.
It was so good. It's a good time. But yeah, that's mine. My next entry. Sorry,
wow.
Ed. I'm sorry.
No. I love this how we both think alike. Okay. Well, I guess I'll go on to my next game, Earthworm Jim. One of Interplay's well-known games, kind of like a platform action shoot 'em up. Nothing like Contra or anything. Mostly just like if you think of Shovel Knight in a way. It's that kind of style of game, 16-bit. They also did a cartoon for it. Very comedic, a little bit disgusting, but very fun to play. So Earthworm Jim is my choice.
I remember Earthworm Jim was like the big game they were trying to push for like. Remember the Sega channel?
Yes.
That was like the big game they were pushing on the Sega channel. And I was like, oh man, that was the game that made me want Sega channel. My parents kept telling me no. But yeah, Earthworm Jim. And then the HD remaster for 360 was pretty good.
Oh, I never got to try it.
Yeah, it was they put it on the Xbox Live Arcade for 360.
Oh, cool. Well, maybe they'll do BC for it, and I could buy it and play it.
Yeah, actually, it might be backwards compatible. I'm not 100% sure, but it might be. I guess I could check. But next game, not super Probably not super hard to get on there either, especially with Puyo Puyo Tetris coming out this week. Tetris Attack.
Yeah.
Tetris Attack would be a pretty simple one to put on there. But yeah, I don't really think I need to explain that one really.
Yeah. So, well, then I'm just gonna go ahead with mine. Darius Twins. It was a shoot 'em up. In a like very good game. In a style of R-Type in Gradius. Not very well known, but kind of still arcadey and a good fun long game to play. So Darius Twins. If you kind of want to change up, because actually I was thinking about it, but I'm just like, that's already on Wii U and you can play that right now, and that game is fine.
Nice. My next game, ActRaiser.
Yes.
I think that game has a lot of love-hate relationship with a lot of people. I think you either love it or you don't. But I think the overwhelming amount of people who own that game love that game. And I think it's an important third-party game to have on there because it was one of the first times we saw mixed genres in a game.
Yes. And that soundtrack is superb. Oh, goodness.
Oh, I know. And I think it's, if nothing else, an important, an important game for history for the Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
What if you don't know what ActRaiser is? It was a mix between a God mode simulator, and then pass through an area. You got to like a side scroll. There's side scrolling segments to it. Yes. So which they completely removed the God Sim stuff from ActRaiser 2, which a lot of people didn't like. So ActRaiser I think is super important for Super Nintendo. So that's my next entry. I'm deleting 2 of my entries because I know they're on your list, and I'm going to let you talk about them since I deleted them. Since I, kind of took like half of yours already.
Well, yeah, you got like kind of 4 of the games on there. Well, because Breath of Fire 2 was my next one, I'm actually going to go with R-Type 3. R-Type, I think it was 1 or 2. One of them had like a bad slowdown. It was just like garbagey to play, but R-Type 3 is a fantastic shoot 'em up game. Still popular in the genre. One of my favorites that I love. So R-Type 3.
Nice. I think my next entry is actually 2 games, Fantasy 2 and 3, which are actually Final Fantasy 4 and 6. I think those would be at least Final Fantasy 3/6 will show up. I think a lot of people like that game more than 4. And I think that game has a lot more interesting things going on than 4. I personally
I get to suplex a ghost train. That's amazing.
Yeah. I personally think that one of these games needs to be on there just because it's important to that system. That Super Nintendo was a JRPG machine, and we could make 2 or 3, if there's only 30 games on this console, like we could make 2 or 3 just on RPGs for this thing. But shoot. I think Final Fantasy 3 is definitely should be on there, and I think Final Fantasy 2 should be on there as well. So 4, 6, whatever. I don't know. I don't know how they would do. They probably do the American releases, so like 2 and 3. I think.
Yeah, I still call it Final Fantasy 3.
Mm-hmm.
4 and 6 didn't come out as the respectively that they supposed to have came out, but it came out as Final Fantasy 3 here in America, and I stick by that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's the right way to look at it. So yeah, what's your next entry, Ed?
Well, you mentioned also Breath of Fire, because that was my next one. So I'm going with Saturday Night Slam Masters. It was an arcade wrestling game by Capcom with Mike Hager and all this other crazy stuff. It still played like almost like a Final Fight game, but it was dealt with wrestling. Really funny, really great game. Did come to the arcade, it then came to the Super Nintendo, but I played the Super Nintendo one and had a ton of fun with it. So Saturday Night Slam Masters.
Nice. My next entry is Super Star Wars. I just put the Super Star Wars trilogy, but take it or leave whichever ones you want on there. I think Super Star Wars, I think Super Empire Strikes Back is the best of the three, but it did some interesting things with the Mode 7 and the FX trip, and I think it's really fun. It's a really weird, quirky look at that movie.
Yeah,
like Scorpion Darth Vader, and they just do a lot of weird stuff. But I mean, hey, video games in the 90s. What can I say?
Pretty much.
So Super Star Wars, I think, needs to be on. I think it could be on there. So yeah.
Yes. Well, my next game is Rival Turf. It was a 2D beat 'em up game. That's if you need something like very generic to play, Rival Turf is it. The box art is super basic, and the people who are on the cover are not even in the game. Like it's a B-rated kind of game. Kind of a budget title almost. But it's fun to play. So Rival Turf.
Nice. You're not saying any of the games now that I thought you were going to say.
Oh,
I deleted a bunch because I thought you were going to get to them.
Oh, what were they?
I thought you were going to. I thought at some point you were going to say Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana.
No, I took them off. I kept them off.
Oh, well,
yeah, because those are right. Because those was expected games, and I was trying to go with a list that it was unexpected.
Yeah, well. Here's the thing, though. Like, are they expected because they're not first-party games? I was trying to go third-party stuff.
Yeah, and I went a lot of third-party because I thought you was going more Nintendo.
No. Well, I tried to stay away from the Nintendo stuff because I figured like a lot of the Nintendo published games would end up on there.
Right.
Man. Well, I mean, do we need to talk about Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana?
No. We talked about them enough.
Yeah, I think we talked about them enough in general anyway. So.
Right. And if you haven't heard about it, check other shows. Look it up online. Those are classic games that define.
I mean, we talked
about sauce.
You can even check out this show like 2 or 3 weeks ago when the Mana collection was coming out. I think we talked about both those games a lot that episode. So, man, I kind of hope that comes to the West. To be honest with you,
come through E3,
come through. But my last 2 entries, I think we both have these on our list, and I think we talked about these games. Probably for like a half hour on one of our episodes. Turtles in Time and Turtles Tournament Fighter. They're 2 different games, but 2 essential Super Nintendo games to me.
Yes.
For me, in terms of Super Nintendo, outside of the Nintendo stuff, these are the games that I played the most on Super Nintendo. I've probably played through Turtles in Time 300 times. Like,
I'm same here.
I mean, that game is it's literally one of the best Super Nintendo games I've ever played. And I got really excited when they were remastering it for Xbox 360 and the Turtles in Time reshelled or whatever. And it was not the same. It's not even the same game. I think they remastered the arcade version, which is okay in itself. But the Super Nintendo one, I think, is the definitive version. Man, I like the way you can change from the different art styles of cartoon versus comics.
Yes.
I like the way they had like a training mode, I think, in there at some point.
A fighter mode.
Yeah. And it's just so good. Donatello's the best character, by the way.
I've beaten that game with each turtle on each level of difficulty and with each different styles. Like talking about playing it, beating it 300 times. Like I've beaten that game with Raphael and Michelangelo on hard by myself.
And that's hard because their weapons aren't like Leonardo and Donatello. At least you got the range, but you got to get it close with Michelangelo and Raphael. And that was the different thing too. Is like that's secretly kind of like a class-based game because like you look at the weapons and they do different. They have different ranges and different strengths and stuff, and like it was cool to see the differences that the turtles did, and it was cool. And I was always Donatello. I could never not be Donatello because I like having that ranged weapon.
Well, definitely, I could play with anyone. It came to running into the Foot Clan, throwing them out the screen, or doing a flip and sliding through them, getting back at them, drop kicking. Like I used so many different mechanics, and just like you, Donatello, everybody always put the Donatello first because of his range. But I would literally sometimes go to Michelangelo or Raphael because on how quick I could get the gameplay. So while people are using Donatello, to survive, I'm just gaining points really quick because I'm killing them fast.
Yeah, because you get because their weapons weren't ranged, like they felt quicker, they felt faster. So like you would always get more points because you were always getting closer to the guys and killing them faster.
Right. And every time you get 100 points, you got that one up, and you just be but it was weird because it's just like by the time you get to a one up, like half of the game is done. Like 1/3 of the game is done. Just like
I know. Oh, that game is so good. Oh, love that game.
Yes.
And Tournament Fighters a lot of people who played it on Genesis got a totally different experience. Those games were totally different on Genesis and Super Nintendo. And like Super Nintendo, I think felt more like Street Fighter. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know what the Genesis version was trying to do. Weird. The Genesis version was really weird. I mean, it was still like a one-on-one fighter, and like you still had like, I don't know, it was just weird. The moves were different. The art direction was different. It was just totally different.
I think they were trying to go for a comic style with the Genesis, where Super Nintendo was going for like the cartoon kind of style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, see somebody liking one of the over the other, and I owned the Genesis version, and my friend owned the Super Nintendo version, and I would go over to his house to play the Super Nintendo version. Yeah, it was but man, Tournament Fighter was an interesting game, and I wish they would do something like that. I wish somebody like a lot of people are like talking about like the Marvel properties and stuff, and how like those games could be good if they get the right developers behind them and stuff. Whoever has the Ninja Turtles license needs to do something with it. I would love a Turtles game, like a dark, gritty game, kind of like the first movie.
Actually, Activision has it.
Well, we're not getting anything out of them.
Well, we got the Platinum game, so that's why.
Yeah, well, like I said, we're not getting anything good out of them.
Yeah, I mean, like Konami would have to do its best to snag it up and make an arcade download style for Switch. I literally will play a 10-level beat 'em up for Switch if Konami did that.
Yeah, I would like to see a side-scrolling beat 'em up. I would even like to see something almost like, you take the concept of that first NES version, the first game, but like make it in the mold of like
a Metroidvania style,
kind of like Arkham Asylum, like a Batman Arkham Asylum style game. I think the combat needs to be more fluid. I think the combat in the Arkham games is super overrated. I think it's too slow and it feels really clunky, but I do like the Metroidvania-esque style of Arkham Asylum. If they could do something like that with Ninja Turtles, and like I know a lot of people are going to want the co-op experience, because that's what Turtles was to them growing up. But I think they could do something really cool in terms of like a semi-open world. You got to discover new ways to advance to the next area, and like they could do something cool with stealth and combat and stuff. I think somebody could do something really cool.
They could
I just think somebody could do something really cool like that.
Yeah, they could learn new ninja techniques and get new ninja weapons for those techniques that Splinter has never taught them.
Yeah, and like you can even call in the different turtles to help you, like a co-op style thing. Like, isn't there something like that in the later Arkham games? Like
yeah,
where you
something
call
like
in
that.
a teammate or something to help you do something. Like, I don't know. I just think there'd be something cool like that. And the sewers could be a Metroid style like maze that you could go through, and you could unlock or find like better materials to make better weapons and stuff. Like there's something there. I just don't know how you could do that, but
yeah.
There's that rumor for a really long time that Rocksteady was working on a Ninja Turtles game for a while.
Yeah. And that went nowhere.
I know. So sad. But that blah 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 blah. That was my last entry, was the Turtles games.
Okay. Well, my next two, it was well, actually, I'll read my next two. Well, I'll just go do all my four because you finished yours. So it was Battletoads and Double Dragon, Tiny Toon Adventures. Because you took Tournament Fighters, because you took NBA Jam and Ken Griffey, I'm going to replace them with Soul Blazer and Yoshi's Island.
Yeah,
I had Joe and Mac, Castlevania 4, and Super Ghouls and Ghosts. But Battletoads and Double Dragon is kind of the better. It's still difficult and hard, but it would be good to go with the buddy with that game and, mixing up between Billy Lee and the Battletoads. Tiny Toon Adventures, a great action platform game from Konami. They were the king of licensed games. Soul Blazer, it's an Enix game before they became Square Enix that a lot of people didn't get to play. Great RPG. And Yoshi's Island, of course, since it hasn't been on on Virtual Console, is like one of the best platform games ever made. Like, you literally need to get your hands on that original game and just go through it, enjoy, love the Crayola style crayon graphics, and you have to fight that bird on the moon. Like the boss designs are the best. So yeah, those are my last four to make up my 15.
Nice.
Did you have any extra things?
No, not really. I had Super Bomberman and Super Castlevania written down.
Yes, Super Bomberman. That's the joint. Yes.
Yeah, because I was actually playing Super Bomberman the other day for Switch, Super Bomberman R, and it's okay. Like it gave me the same vibes as that Super Nintendo game, and I like Bomberman. I actually really like Bomberman 64 a lot, and I think that would be a cool little thing to include. But I took it off because Nintendo seems to have a working relationship with Konami right now, and I kind of see games like that coming to this SNES Classic. So I don't know. And I think they would put Super Castlevania 4 on there just to kind of, I don't want to say stick it to PlayStation because of Symphony of the Night, but
it's a popular title. So yeah.
So that was kind of my list. But man, I forgot that Battletoads Double Dragon came to Super Nintendo. Oh, yes, please. I don't owns the rights to Battletoads now, but man. Yes. Well, I mean, do we need to talk about the Nintendo games that are going to be on there, like Link to the Past and Super?
No, we talked enough about those games, and
Yeah.
not and people might get mad at me, but usually when it comes to like putting Super Nintendo games, I kind of want like Link to the Past off of it because I think too
Yeah,
many
but you know
people.
those are the games that are going to sell the box though to people
I
like
mean,
us. Like
yeah, it is, but I think I played it too many times and discussed it too many times with people, so it's already become expectation, and I kind of want to challenge people to go beyond of just Link to the Past or Super Mario World and stuff like that. Like sometimes go out of that because there are so many great Nintendo games that don't get talked about. You know.
yeah. Yeah. I think this is going to kind of wrap up our show.
Yes.
Ed, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at that retro code. You can hear my podcast, Optional Opinion, at the Anomalous Radio Network.podbean.com, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and other podcast apps. Also listen to World 101 podcast at shoutengine.com and on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play. If you subscribe to Optional Opinion, you will be getting the past World 101 and the current World 101 episodes. I just got to upload them and put the descriptions on them. So you guys will be getting that. You can find me on skirmishfrogs.com. I have a series called The Moment, or you can check that out. And this week I was going to be writing some Optional Opinion blogs on IGN, but I'm actually going to be doing some I'm just going to do the audio podcast. And what it is going to be, I looked at E3 2016 and looked at the games that actually did get released and talk about the scores that came out. And so from E3 to the time they got released, I'll be talking about their scores and overall what that company games did for average. So you guys can be checking that out this week. And I will have a new episode of Optional Opinion featuring a special guest this Friday.
Nice. Well, you can find me at Corey Hudson and HD on Twitter. You can find me at Corey and HD on Instagram. I'm going to be try to do more on social media. Just haven't been there lately, I guess. You can find this show every Tuesday and Friday at 10 a.m. on your favorite podcast service of choice. You can also find this show on ngrradio.com and our YouTube page. Just check out NGR Radio. You can find me on that show as well as Ed from time to time. Ed, you need to come back on. I miss your face there. And Matt fighting words because he likes to troll me about Nintendo, and I need someone to help me fight the good fight.
I'll be your codependent, your fighter, your assistant. I'll be the warrior. You'll be my supplier or supporter. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. You can find .com this week. I am working on things. I'm actually going to go work on a bunch of stuff right now. Let's see. Anything else? Facebook group, the Nintendo Pow Block Facebook group, the NGR Radio Facebook group. Just find those, join us, come talk with us. That's going to be a good time. So
yes,
Ed, this is my favorite day of the week when we get to record this show because we get to geek out about Nintendo.
Yay.
And you're my favorite person to do that with. So
thank you.
Just makes me really happy every time we get to do this show. So everybody, thank you so much for listening and or watching. And until Friday, we love you.
Bye, everybody.